Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to my channel. Rashida Silvertree here, and today we're going to talk about extremism. This quote came across watching an interview with Whitney Webb. I believe she's some kind of journalist that she's been working on the Epstein case for a really long time. Just a really deep dive into the shadow elite and their inner workings while they're keeping us completely distracted with with extremism, meaning either you're far left, far right, pro this, anti that, just black, white, just really, really divisive times right now. And I wanted to get into this. So the quote, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." I'm not sure who wrote that, but it was in the comments section. I'm sure some person in military or philosopher or social, analyst or something. But I just thought that why not? Why not talk about this? I previously made and created a video on the identity gender, I guess, explosion or crisis or awakening, if you can say. I don't know what to call it. And yesterday I had an interaction with a person that I used to know over a decade ago in college, and they happen to be a person that has transitioned, right? They're in the middle of their transition. She was a he, he's genetically a male, but he identifies as female. And no disrespect to anybody. This is something I think that with the transgenderism part of our big shift in our culture, in the world, really, world culture, it's something that I struggle with because it goes against what is natural to me in my own reality. But I've come to this conclusion because I formulated my opinion about the ideology in that community, right? I formulated my opinions based of other people's opinions and other people's feelings and my upbringing, my culture, and how I interpret the world. And this is my conclusion. We cannot enforce our internal reality onto other people. We cannot enforce our inner world onto other people, regardless of if it's pro or anti, left, right, black, white, male, female. It goes against unity consciousness, and it feeds into fragmented consciousness. Like I've mentioned before in a previous video, go ahead and check it out, please. Extremism. It's to the point where you can't be the outsider looking in. It's to the point where you can't be middle ground. It's really very it's disheartening. It has people quite back in the 90s and early 2000s, you can just speak from like your authentic self. And it's dangerous now to do that when you don't pick a team. And people who are teamless are deemed as dangerous. With this whole extremism, radicalism, it's very radical. And what's so scary is that extremists don't know that they're being extreme. They think that that their externalization of their inner world and inner opinions and inner feelings and inner mental thought processes and enforcing that on other people is normal. It's almost like an enslavement of consciousness itself. You cannot enslave consciousness, but can you? I think you actually can. I think you actually can enslave consciousness. But in order to enslave consciousness, people have to have your faith. They have to have you believe in their illusion of separation. They literally have to have your faith, your belief, the power of your intentional belief has to believe in their illusion of separation. If they are fragmented in their internal world, then you must abide by that. My rules for my internal rules or world is now your rules. You have to follow. If you don't follow the rules for my internal world, then you're dangerous, you're canceled, and we don't want any part of you. And this goes for both sides. This goes for people who are anti-transgenderism and pro-transgenderism. If you can't pick a side, that's where people are going to really be, you're going to stand out and you're going to stick out. But we must be fearless. For those of you who who stand firm on your sovereignty, who stand firm on your authenticity. I can still love a transgendered person. I can still love a person who fits the heteronormative mold and roles. Because guess what? I'm a humanitarian. I can see the human in them. I can see the being. I can see beyond the identities that we feel obligated and forced to identify with. Have you ever spoken with somebody about voting and they're like, what do you mean if you have to vote? There is no choice. I stay clear of people who say there is no choice. I just, that mindset is so dangerous. That is a trapped, enslaved consciousness right there. They are trapped and enslaved. You don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. You're gone. If that's your belief system, you're gone. There's no kind, sweet way to say that. You're just, and so I just feel like, if anything, to combat this extremism is to be fearless. You can't be afraid to lose all that you have. You can't be afraid to stand firm in your truth without causing harm to other people, obviously. And maybe that's unavoidable. Maybe someone's always going to be offended, right? Someone's always going to feel supported, or someone's always going to feel offended. So you can't make everyone happy. But I feel like I live in a culture now where everyone's trying to make everybody happy. And it's just causing a cluster F. It is causing deep, deep issues on a deep level. On a social, economic, cultural, spiritual, level. So what does this quote mean? Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. I automatically think of Germany, World War II Germany, and war, when in Nazi Germany during that time, where people were hungry, they were desperate, they were poor, the German people, and normal secular people, everyday people, right? They were poor, limited, broken from World War I. They were just, they felt like they were being deprived. And when you suppress people over and over and over and over and over, and they become more desperate. Like you don't increase the wages, but you increase, or salaries, but you increase the prices of the price to live, the price to feed yourself, the food prices and the gas prices, just daily things to function in a typical patriarchal society. And so I feel like in Nazi Germany, when Adolf Hitler gave his first few speeches, and those numbers grew and grew and grew and grew of those supporters, and probably in the millions of people looking up to him. At first, and probably no one paid attention to him. And then those numbers, just that support grew and grew. And he projected his own internal belief system and externalized that belief system on his own people. An absurd thought. It's them versus us versus them. They're the ones to blame for your poverty. They're the ones to blame for your lack of money and food and opportunity. So they were able to commit inhumane acts. Like slavery in the West. Slavery has been, okay, I'm not going to go into the slavery or the history of slavery. I'm just using examples that I've learned when I was in school as a young student, which history that we teach in classes is inaccurate. It's inaccurate. That's all I'm going to say. But concepts, it's the concept you got to that's so super important for students to hang on to. And the concept that has always stuck by me was the concept of, like, when learning about slavery is like, no, it's wrong to own another human being, for a human being to own another human being. Okay? That's a belief. But there was a time where a group of people, humans, projected their internal belief system and projected this belief system onto another group of human beings. And they said, you're meant to build our empire. We need your hard physical labor. We will break you psychologically. We will divide your families. We will force you to speak our language. We will force you to believe in our God, our gods. And that's what you're meant to do. And we'll have the whole world believe it too. And that's how they built the Western Empire. Right? When we are internalized, when we force people to believe in our beliefs in our internal world, when it's fragmented consciousness, that's one thing. When you're coming from a space of unified consciousness and you're projecting out into the world, you're unifying people together. When you project from a fragmented consciousness, you further fragment the external world. That's the point in what I'm saying here. That's why I can't be affiliated with either one belief. In the conversation I had with my peer from college, I mean, we weren't best friends, but boyfriend that I was dating at the time, his sister was really good friends with the person I'm talking about. This now, the woman, she identifies as a woman now. She's a trans woman. Okay? And I knew him. See, I knew this trans woman as a man, as a male, way back when, 15 years ago, 18 years ago. At the time, he would come to our shows because his girlfriend was in the music, she was doing orchestra and choir. And we really were connecting at that point because I was asking her all these questions. And then she said, I have children. I've been married for 10 years. I have this going on, that going on. I asked so many questions, like the medication, her state of mind, everything. And I didn't even recognize her from when she was a male. You know, she had facial hair at the time, but she was wearing makeup, her hair is dyed, different color, longer hair, and very intelligent, very bright. And she told me she had her degree in English. So she's very just bright, and she's in, working in a Whole Foods, putting produce away, and we're discussing life events and, how she wants to, set her tracked on another space, right? She wants to take a different path with her career, and I walked away like, whoa, what's the lesson in this? Because I don't go out of my way, to blend in with LGBTQIA plus community. I don't go out of my way to, go to BLM, or I don't go out of my way to go to MAGA events, or I don't go out of my way to go to where liberals, the whole political thing. I don't do that. I'm not an activist in that sense. I just don't, because I just see it for what it is, not for what I want it to be and what it's made out to be. I'm an activist for the human consciousness. That's one of the reasons, of many reasons, why I'm here. But I said, whoa, because I had all of these judgments, of how wrong this is, how wrong that is, how wrong this and this and this and this. Even with my new job with my boss, my employer, and I said, in education, I said, I'm concerned. I said, the culture has shifted, and I don't know how I'm gonna interact, and she put my mind at ease. She was like, we have counselors, we have therapists, we have all that set up. That's not on you. You're just there to teach content. That's it. Because that's one of my biggest worries with, the education system is everything's politicized now. And I'm all about, I could give two F's about your gender identity or your sexual preference. I don't care. Make that abundantly clear. It is your character, intelligence, how you treat yourself, how you treat others, what you desire to create, your values, your principles, integrity, your professionalism, that is what I want to project onto my students. Not this, what are your political affiliation or your personal ideologies or your sexuality. That has nothing to do with knowing how to read. That has nothing to do with knowing mathematics or critical analysis. That's something that is personal. That is an individual, that's part of your personal journey as a human being to figure that ish out on your own. So I'm putting myself more and more at ease with how things are unfolding. And I've cut ties with a lot of the bull crap I see online with this is going wrong, and this is going wrong, and this is going, food prices are going up, World War III, it's part of the great unfolding. And I have a personal mantra, all is well and everything is unfolding as it should. I watched a video on where there is this, and I think she was highly intuitive. She's wearing the same Moldavite, Moldavite crystal. And it's rare when I ever see people wear Moldavite. If you know, you know. Look it up. It's an actual very rare crystal now to have. You can't find it anywhere. Those who are meant to have this crystal, you're meant to have it. Um, but she had it on her finger in her energy reading that I was just curious, like what's going on, in the energy reading world. Because I took a break from it. I'm like, this is just, I couldn't vibe anymore because it's just very repetitive and it gets you into this weird energy loop of hope and despair at the same time. But with her, I could tell she was being sincere, and I liked her reading. It wasn't about celebrity. It wasn't about Scorpios or your sun sign. Her question was, did the Mayan 2012 prediction come true? Is it false? And her reading was actually very insightful. So in her interpretation of the message that came through with her was this, that 2012 was just she said it's almost like how you see $20 and then you think the same value of $20 would be the same, or 20 euros would have the same value of $20, which is false, right? And it's like 2012, like we're kind of off by a few years, give or take a few, right? But she tuned into that energy, and her interpretation was that it was just a calendar, because in all actuality, there is no time. There's timelessness. Timelessness is a cyclical thing. And basically 2012 was a hoax. I fell for it. I thought back in like 2010, it was around that time I started getting, or 2009, like I had one of my first major spiritual awakenings. I mean, call it Kundalini, call it third eye opening, I don't know, but it was just like, I was 19 or 19 at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, I felt like I was losing my mind. And I didn't drink or do drugs at that time either. I've never been into drugs anyway, but that's besides the point. But I felt trapped. I fell into that frequency of fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the gateway for illusion of separation. It is, and with illusion of separation, you have extremism. My dear human beings, please try your best to process your belief system. Ask yourself why you believe what you believe. Ask yourself what your values are, what your principles are. Ask yourself, how do you know what you know? Ask yourself, why do you consume what you consume? Why do you create what you create? Why do you destruct what you destruct? That is going to be the key here. That is going to be the key to self-salvation, the salvation for the collective. Because if you get caught up in over-identifying with anything that I've just said, pro-abortion, anti-abortion, left, right, liberal, this, that, that, male versus, even, and it's real bad with the gender between male and between men and women now, because that too, like, I wouldn't say this is a really good time to date, really, because all of what we normalize is being flipped upside down. It's part of our growth. It's part of human evolution. And I will say this, and this may sound a bit weird because you would think someone who's so optimistic and all for humanity, it could be that if we choose as a human collective to continue on this route of extremism, meaning fragmented consciousness, our species won't make it, no matter what you do. And no matter how deep, shadow elite, you dig your holes and your bunkers, because we all know everybody know at this point, y'all either the shadow elites digging holes in the ground, or they're putting ships together to leave the planet. Okay, but no matter how deep you think you can dig, and no matter where you think you can get to in space, whatever planet, Mars or where the moon, it doesn't matter. Wherever you think you can run, it's over. Fragmented consciousness or unified consciousness. And those who choose unified consciousness, we are going to be tested like never before. And that's why I'm asking you to ask yourself why you believe what you believe, why you do the things that you do. You have to choose to live intentionally, for those of you who choose to unify your consciousness with the all. Those who choose to be fragmented, where you stick very hard in that frequency of it's me against the world, it's the world against me. If you don't believe in my internal belief system, then I'm going to cancel you and destroy everything that you know and that you love. Good luck. And I say good luck to everyone, because we're going to need it. When we're so fragmented within ourselves, that's when you have war. That's when you have like big global social upheaval. Because then you have a whole nation that's fragmented consciously, then you have multiple nations fragmented consciously, then that it just begets that internal war. That fragmented consciousness is internal war. That's what the Islamists, Muslims mean by jihad, the spiritual war within. That somehow patriarchy effed up, and they literally made it into this holy war where if you don't believe what they believe, they kill you. If you don't truly believe what you believe, you end up killing you on a spiritual level. When you unify your consciousness, you can make a clear decision on if you want to become a trans man, trans woman, or if you want to be right or left, or if you want to be pro-abortion or anti-abortion, if you want to do this. But if you're speaking from this fragmented, broken, hurt, traumatized, neglected, unloved consciousness, fear, rage, and that's your internal frequency, that's your internal world, that fragmented consciousness. Ooh. And you make decisions from that space, like a decision to permanently change your anatomy. Like it's a personal choice. If you do the work, go to therapy, take it all, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you're coming from a fragmented space, that's no good. If you're, like extreme conservatives or extreme liberal, and you're not even right with your own decision on why you believe that in the first place. Well, my mom believed it, my parents believed it, my grandparents, my country, everyone else believes it, so I believe it too, but you don't truly believe in that, but yet you're projecting the same energy out. That's no good. So all I'm seeing in society right now is fragmentation, which could beget atrocities for the human species. Good luck.